Kuechly. Carolina Panthers since 1995. Keep pounding till the day that we die. Protect the bank, this is our Queen City. Tell the haters ice up the 39 Steams 50. JC Horn locking up, that's our seatbelt. Derrick Brown no come down, that's how we felt. NFC South is always the villains. How you gonna stop Bryce to McMillan? The future is now this our division. Carolina Panthers get ready for collisions.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another episode of the Cole Show here on the Blue&Black Attack Podcast. I am your host, Cole. I am here with a slew of my brothers. I'm here with DJ Skills, Jake, and Panther Pickle. Tonight, we are going to get into my favorite position in football, linebackers. Are we going to be able to fix it in the draft? We're going to look into that. Fellas, how y'all doing this evening?
I'm doing great. Doing absolutely wonderful.
Good. Hope y'all had a good day. Deez, how you doing, my friend?
Hey. Still vibing from the theme song, my friend. Having a great
That
show
song stays in my head the whole show.
I'm telling you, man. I'm pumped up about the Cole Show. Good to be back, my brother. We're going to have a great show talking about linebackers. Everybody that's a Panthers fan knows good and well that's a big need this offseason. We talked about it on Monday. We went into free agency. And now tonight, we're going to talk about the draft and linebackers. And I am pumped up. Let's go, Cole.
Yes, sir. Thank you, my friend. Jacob, you here with me, my friend?
I am here making my plate still, but I am here ready to, get into some Carolina Panther football talk with my boy Cole on his show. I couldn't be more excited, man. I hope everybody's vibing and ready for the show.
Jake, you're a very nice man. I'm going to be extra nice to you this week because I know you had a long week with your Tar Heels. Let's get into this movement.
Yeah, we're not even going to talk about that.
Football-only podcast. Panther Pickle, we got a very experienced and very new name coming into our coaching staff as associate head coach and offensive specialist. Who is Darrell Bevell? What can you tell me about him?
Well, Darrell Bevell, is
I can tell you he's 56 years old and he has connections with Canales. I don't know how many years. Let me look that part up. 15 years as an offensive coordinator, Pickle. That's pretty substantial.
See that? That's Darrell Bevell. He's worn many hats in the league since he's been here. Okay, looks like a slightly younger version. He got red hair, of course.
I have seen him before.
Anyway, so, Darrell Bevell. Actually, Darrell Bevell served with the Seahawks and Vikings from 06 to 2010, and the Lions from 19 to 20. From 2019 to 2020 and 2021. Okay, he serves as the offensive coordinator for those roles. He was the interim head coach in 2020 with the Lions and in Jacksonville in 21. Okay, Darrell Bevell has been in the league for. He was actually one of the mentors to Dave Canales, actually. Okay. He's from Scottsdale, Arizona. He went to college in Winston. Okay, he went to college in Wisconsin, rather. Okay. Now his title here is going to be assistant head coach and offensive specialist. Now, he's been a quarterbacks coach. He's been an offensive coordinator. He was an offensive coordinator for Seattle Seahawks from 2011 to 2017. Okay, he has a deep connections with Dan Morgan and Dave Canales. He also Brad Isaac. One thing that we really need to think a lot about is y'all know. Let me get this blank page up here. Okay, yeah. When Brad Isaac's offensive coordinator, he does all the game planning, does all the everything. Okay, except play calling, which Canales takes over. And it's thought around the league circles that what Daryl's going to do, he's going to help Brad Isaac transit to get ready to do more of the job to where it ain't no secret at times our offensive struggled, and a lot of that I believe was transiting from Dave calls the plays, but he doesn't build the playbook, but Brad Isaac did, and it's kind of like driving somebody else's car and you've never drove it before. Um, after, there's little glitches and little dots that you're going to miss, even if you're a good driver. So, so one thing about it, I believe you're going to see a better Brad Isaac. Uh, and at the same time, later on in the year, if it's determined that we still having issues, and some of that may be Dave trying to wear too many hats, you have an easier person to hand over play calling duty to, or maybe even let Brad do the play calling, but Daryl kind of standing over top of it and helping him along as he needs to, because you got to remember Dave Canales learned how to call plays from Daryl Bevel.
Pickle, I wanted to ask you this, and I definitely want Jake and Dee's opinion on the matter as well. I don't think we're going to get to this point, but what if maybe the offense starts slow? Do y'all see a world where Pickle just said that he just hands the keys over to him and let him call plays, and then Canales just kind of does the head coaching role and kind of just oversees the whole team? I have a hard time seeing Canales giving up the keys as a play caller with his age and being a young coach. So I don't think it'll get to that, but I just wanted to put that in y'all's head and see what you thought.
Yeah,
Did you think possibility?
yeah, it is a possibility. I think we already know Dave Canales to be prone to these slow starts where we look bad in the preseason. We're not ready for the first game of the year. We've already seen this trend from Dave, and it's a part of the learning process for him in a lot of ways. And I feel like last year we couldn't even really run a true hurry
Mhm.
up offense. If the game was on, we saw it when the game was on the line and we only had 17 seconds to play, we didn't really move that fast on offense. And I think this move was to counteract that problem. Dave's trying to get it figured out. Now, is he
I
going to
agree.
give up the play calling responsibility? Possibly. I've heard other people say that they don't think this guy would call plays. I know he hasn't actually called plays in the NFL since 2020. So it's been a while. It's not like they're bringing in a guy that was calling plays, for the Seahawks or whoever last year. That's
Mhm.
that's not the case. He hasn't been a play caller in almost 6 years now. So I
Mhm.
would I would assume that Dave is going to want to call the plays, but he's looking for these processes from Daryl Bevel to get them down so that he can do it and operate more smoothly on the offensive side of the ball. It was clearly a problem last year. I know we made some comebacks with the game on the line, with not a lot of time left. But when we really tried to hurry up, we still took the play clock down to the last seconds. And I
Mhm.
think
I
that's
hated
why
that.
we brought in Daryl to get those processes
Yes.
on the offense in the headphones and everything else. Maybe they got too much analytics going on. Maybe Daryl comes in and says, "Hey, we got to stop some of this analytics communication. It's eating up 20 seconds of our play clock." Or something like that. We'll see how that plays out, Cole.
Mhm.
I do think if it looks the same and we still struggle to get the ball snapped, yeah, I think he could very well hand that over, considering what Pickle has pointed out, the fact that he was Dave Canales' mentor already.
Jacob, I'm gonna go a little bit different direction. Same topic with you because this is new information to me too. He was with Miami 2022 to 2025. I know Tua was at his moments, but under him, career high, Pro Bowl nod, and he was a top ranked passer some of them seasons. So the man might be a quarterback whisperer. Not that Bryce really needs rebuilding, but maybe this man will be able to take Bryce to the next level and open up the playbook for him, Nalo, etc.
Oh, I completely agree. I've been saying this for a while now, going on over a year, that what Dave Canales really needed. I mean, I know his official position isn't offensive coordinator, but I feel like
Mhm.
this is almost the same thing as an offensive coordinator, because he is going to be a guy that's going to be in Dave Canales' ear. I mean, this Dave Canales was his protege, so to speak, when he was in Seattle. I think
Mhm.
this is going to benefit hugely for Dave Canales and Bryce Young both, and I'm so happy for this hire, man, because the one thing I criticized Dave Canales last year was that sometimes some games it didn't look like the team wasn't the offense specifically wasn't prepared enough. They kind of got to a late start, so to speak. They didn't really get hot till later on in the second half. So I think this is really going to benefit both of them guys, and
I do too.
I'm super excited for this hire, and I can't wait until the season starts.
Pickle, I'm gonna double check this just because I know we're using our tools with our notes, but I'm seeing that he declined some OC interviews and still took that gig with us.
Oh, I haven't
I
known
don't
that
know
too.
what teams, and I will look
It,
into that and give you a more concrete
yeah,
answer. But I'm seeing some notes that say
it wouldn't surprise me because depending
that
on
looks
the
good on
job,
us.
yeah, it does. And you never know about um you never know about what jobs offered.
Right.
Some of these jobs are dead end jobs anyway. And everybody knows it.
Yes, they are. Diesel skills. I think it's time, my friend. We
I was
gave
going to say,
Bevel a nice little intro. You got anything else you want to add before we move to the linebackers or Jacob?
well, yeah, I was going to say they probably paid him good. They probably
They
paid him enough
probably paid
money. He was
handsomely. Yeah, we need to talk about
yeah,
that
he's
for
like, I'll
sure.
be happy to work with Dave.
Sure.
He's like, I'm more than happy to come work with Dave, especially making the playoffs, man. I mean, you've worked with this guy for years and years up in Seattle, and then he takes the team in the second year to the playoffs and wins the division on top of it, dude. Yeah, you want to go to that organization. Yeah, you want to be a
Yeah.
part of that. You haven't called plays in 5 years anyway. You ain't worried about calling plays now.
He's
That doesn't make any
familiar.
difference.
He's
Yeah, you
familiar
want to
with everybody.
Yep,
Yeah,
and Dan Morgan was up there in Seattle with Dave Canales too, so he knows the GM as well. This was a homecoming for Daryl, is what it really
Mm-hmm.
was. A homecoming in Carolina. We're Seattle light over here, and that's not a bad thing considering they just won the Super Bowl.
absolutely. And look, and just to go to the deeper pockets, there's very few deeper pockets than David Tepper in the league right
You
now as the
ain't
owner.
lying, Jacob. You are not lying. He'll go out there and pay for that talent. Pickle, I'm not going to joke on the man because he's 56 years old. That's not that old to me at all. But he's not going to be another situation where he's a member of the golf cart boys club, is he? He's not going to be riding around with the rest of the senior leadership and all that, is he?
I wouldn't think so.
He's going to have a more hands-on approach. He's going to be on the field, maybe. I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Jacob, you got anything else you want to say about Bevel before we go to linebackers?
No, just like I said earlier, I think I'm very excited for it. Him and I think it's really going to benefit Bryce Young and Dave Canales both, and I mean that's just a positive because we need that.
I heard that. Okay, I'm gonna just go ahead and get this out of the way, Pickle. Trevor Wallace is a good player. I don't think he's a starting caliber player, so I really don't want to take too many shots at him. This is not why we're doing the linebackers. We know it's a need. I do like Bam Martin Scott. I think we all like Bam Martin Scott. He has a future here, but we realize this is one of the biggest holes on the team. There's quite a few linebackers. I mean, of course, we could talk about the Ohio State backer that's going to go really high. Of course, he would go to us. If we had to trade up, we would have to go get him quite a bit. Who jumps off to you? Who would you like to see us take? Hypothetically, in the first round.
Yeah,
Would you reach for a little bit for Hill? If we took him in the first round, that would be a little bit of a reach. I don't think much, and I would be perfectly fine with it.
That's what I heard the same thing today too. That it doesn't make sense to really take him at 19. Well, why don't we take a sweet trade back deal, Mr. Cole? Why don't we do that and then still draft Hill and pick up another second round pick, maybe another late second round pick? I think that could be beneficial. And then we still get the guy that we want, a guy that got 17 sacks, a guy that was effective as a pass rusher, a guy that that also has the speed and athleticism. We'll find out more in the combine to play the coverage role that Avera wants him to play. For me, it's a no-brainer. And as soon as I saw the stats jumped off the page at me. And I said, this is the guy we need to draft. We need two things in one player. We need pass rushing ability, because we're not getting to the quarterback, and we don't pass rush that often, or we don't blitz that often anyway. And then on top of that, we need somebody that's really good in coverage. A guy that knows how to turn his head around, playing zone defense, and look at where the men are running and where to be on that field. And I think this is a guy that's smart enough to do that. I mean, to me, you take a light trade back in the first round, you stick in the mid-20s somewhere, you pick up a late second-round pick, probably with whoever it is you're trading with, Boom.
Mm-hmm.
You just picked up an extra draft pick and you got your guy that's gonna change the face of this defense. I really truly believe that. A guy that can get 17 sacks
Sure. Oh my
in
God! You insert that over here, boy. I'm gonna tell you what.
yeah, that's
Uh,
Can I?
what we
Pickle,
need.
pickle. I want to tell you this right quick. I'm the opposite of you. Obviously, you hate to trade up. I hate to trade down. But with what Dan Morgan has shown me last year, I am comfortable doing either one with this administration. It's very against what I feel like my roots are. I don't usually like touching draft picks because I've never really trusted our management much until now. I feel like they've earned that with last year's class. So, what do you think? Would you go back? Would you go up? What would you do?
let's stay where I was at.
I
I'm not.
understand.
I mean, trading back is something. Brandon Tillis, our financial guy, quoted last year of saying, "If it was me, I'd trade back, and I'd have so many uh, picks later on in the draft." That sounds like a Scott Fitterer move, honestly. But
It does.
anyway, but and I guess that's burned me quite a bit on trading back, and I understand the desire for it. But trading up means you're giving away picks. I just don't think Dan wants to do that anymore. I really
I
don't.
understand
Uh,
that.
so I'm going to throw a name out real quick. I'm going to say C.J. Allen from Georgia. Dan loves his Georgia boys. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, CJ really didn't have as good year last year as he did the year before. But you also got a guy named uh, uh, you got a guy named Harold Perkins who
Mm-hmm.
who plays outside linebacker and can cover as good as most
Love
inside
him.
linebackers.
Mm-hmm.
You also got a guy that I was reading about today in a list that rated him at the number 3 position was Jacob Rodriguez from
He's a
Texas Tech.
beast. He
So
is a absolute
He's
beast.
trending up.
right. He's a senior. He's 6'1" and 230. A lot of the linebackers are safety slash linebackers, but uh,
Mm-hmm.
some of your best
Rodriguez is the man
linebackers.
pickle for sure.
Exactly.
He's had
So
two
so
great years of college
right, and
football.
once the combine is next week, once all
Mm-hmm.
those things head
All
up,
this might change. This
and
whole
the
conversation might be flopped
physicals
next week.
start,
Mm-hmm.
that's when teams will start grading these guys up or down, higher, lower. Um, I think we could very easily get a good linebacker in at pick 19. But now, to be real, if somebody's sitting there, we decide that's not our guy to draft. Somebody calls up and says, "I'll give you my pick 21st, 22nd, and my
Mm-hmm.
first pick next year, or a second and a third," you'd have to be dumb not to do it, realistically.
This class
So,
looks like it's deep enough where I
I
wouldn't
mean,
have a problem with that
but
whatsoever.
at the same time, you take the same chances that you took years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we kept trading bound and bouncing around a few drafts ago.
Mm-hmm.
We ended up with a wide receiver named Terrell Marshall Jr., who the best center in the draft went to the Kansas City Chiefs. Remember,
Creed Humphrey.
Yeah,
remember,
Creed.
yeah, yep. Remember even a couple years ago, we traded back and then we traded up. We moved around a little bit,
Oh
got
my
an extra
God.
second round pick for the
Mm-hmm.
next year, but we picked up a running back who's been 2 years on IR, while another stud center by the name of Zach Frazier went to the Steelers, and several other great players went off the board at different positions. So sometimes trading around hurts you more than helps you.
Yes, it
Yeah,
does.
I was going to add on to that.
Mm-hmm. Go
That's the
ahead.
thing about when you trade up, you have the possibility of messing up just as likely as you are to trade back. Because
Sure.
don't get me wrong, I'm definitely more for trading back more so than I am trading up. Even though I'm like pickle, I'd rather just stay where I'm at. But the thing about trading back though is the guy that you're trading back for, you still have the possibility that a team ahead of you, goes for that guy. That people say overdrafting that guy a lot, right? They're saying, oh
Mm-hmm.
well, if you draft this guy at pick 19, he's a second round pick though on my board. I mean, that's just all to all these analysts and stuff. To me, that's just a lot of noise to me. If your team values a guy enough and they believe that this guy is worth that pick, pull the trigger on that. I mean, you got to. I mean, if you value him that high, it doesn't matter what the media says. It don't matter. It doesn't matter what anybody supposedly the experts say. It's what you believe in, and you just got to take that chance. It doesn't matter where you draft a guy at. You're always going to have that chance of this guy could be a bust. You can have. I see top 10 picks being a bust all the time. It just happens.
Sure.
That's the thing about the draft, though. It's a lot of risk, and sometimes there's a lot of reward to it too, though.
That's a very good take. I think where I'm at with this. Go ahead, Deez, and then I'll go ahead and say the linebacker I want.
Yeah. These guys are prepared though, Cole and Jake. To your point, I mean, we watched a video just earlier this week where the head of scouting, is saying that they've got all these guys scouted. They're ready 100%. They know what they're going after. They've got a plan. I absolutely believe that. And if they did take a trade back, I do not think that we trade up and go for Sonny. I just don't think we're going to be that aggressive. I really don't. Not on a guy that's a rookie. But I think we could possibly trade back. And I think that if we do that scenario, then Dan's prepared for this. Dan was prepared last year. He knew exactly what he wanted to do. He surprised everybody. He zigged when everybody thought he was going to zag. And I think it's the same thing this year. I think the scouts are better. I think they're a lot better than what the Panthers have had in the last 20 freaking years. We got to remember the guys that have been replaced have been entrenched in there forever, Cole. So I like what I'm hearing coming out of the front office up there in the scouting department as well. I feel like there's a great opportunity if we do take a small trade back, then we're going to still get our guy or another guy who we truly believe in. And I don't think we'll find ourselves in that situation where everybody we wanted was off the board. We'll still get our guy one way or the other.
I think at this point, any linebacker you tried to sell me out of the top 4 or 5, I have no problem with. I think they'll come over here and be instant impact. I really do. Now that I see the names and I think about the games I've watched with these players in it, just as a casual fan on a Saturday, like you see it, they're dominant linebackers. I would love to have CJ Allen. Things can happen. I mean, Sonny Styles, there's mocks all over the place where he comes to us. I don't think he will. I'm like y'all, but I mean, if there's a haul on a position, a skill position or something that we just don't see right now, you know how quick things can change in this draft, and our opinions could be totally different, even on the linebackers when the combine starts next week. So we still got a long way to go. I love the preliminary talks, and we're just going to keep it rolling right up until the draft. It's really exciting. I can't wait. Let's see. Who is another name? Pickle. I do like the Perkins. If we're not going to do it early, the Perkins would be a great player for us to have later. Jake, I know you like him and you watch LSU a lot. What can you tell me about Perkins?
I mean, he's great. If it wasn't for an ACL injury that he had 2 seasons ago, we're talking about a glorified first-round pick without a doubt. I mean, that's the only thing that's really holding him back. The dude is he's off the ball linebacker. That's what I love about this draft. I know a lot of us won't say Mike linebacker, and there is Mike linebackers in this draft, but there's so many great off the ball linebackers in this draft that you're talking about top 5, man. I'm saying top 10. There's that many linebackers that's worthy of getting picked. We're talking first round, second round pick, but you could still get a really good off the ball linebacker in the 3rd round who's worthy to start for us. And I mean, Harold Perkins is a baller, man. Talking about side to side, from sideline to sideline linebacker, he is that guy who can also pass for at the same time. But like I said, if it wasn't for that ACL injury that he had 2 years ago, you're talking about a first round talent.
And remember, let's remember, Dan Morgan loves SEC guys.
Yes, he does. Pickle. I'm gonna go back and I'm gonna check my source. If I'm citing this wrong, I'm totally wrong because I listen to so much stuff on the radio network. I believe it was a Mike K interview, and we brought this up, and he said it as well. Do not be surprised if the Panthers double dip at linebacker in this draft. If we drafted one in the 1st round, took Hill or CJ Allen, and then Jake, you come back to me 2 or 3 rounds later, and you tell me you can add a Harold Perkins with that. Like that would blow my mind. If you could add 2 SEC caliber linebackers in this draft to go ahead and start day 1, I think that would change our entire defense damn near. I would love to see that. Pickle, you think it's a chance we could double dip? Or Jake, go ahead, you were talking.
No, I was just gonna say I'd be fine with us drafting 2 and still signing one free agent.
Sure.
Look at our.
I don't think. Yeah, nothing's enough.
Yeah, I mean, look at this season. Like the one position group that we got so many injuries at. Again, this is back-to-back years. Actually, is the linebacker core. We've had so many injuries on the linebacker group, that's not even funny. So I don't think we can, put enough value to that group of gentlemen right now.
Well, I think Dan's proven since he's been our GM that he'll add pieces in free agency, and then he'll fill the draft up where he needs to. And listen, he's not afraid to double dipping if the talent's there and the situations arise there. That's um, it's not. I honestly think that's possible.
Yeah, we look at this situation very similar to what we just went through this past season, where we went Princely in the third and we went Scorton in the second. And it looks like we could line up and do the same thing at linebacker again this year. But we probably should, to be honest. The depth has been screwed up at that position for I don't know how many years, Pickle. I'd say 7, just off the top of my head, where the depth really hasn't been there at linebacker where it should be. We've got a few developmental pieces like Cole talked about, but those aren't guys that those guys aren't going to come in right now and be serviceable starters in case of an injury. So we need to draft heavy at that position, just like we did last year. We did it last year, same thing again this year, except they're not quote-unquote edge rushers. They're more linebacker-style players, guys that can play more on the inside, and guys that do have a knack for talent to get into the quarterback, which is why I mentioned Hill earlier. But, yeah, there's some more guys on down the draft that are interested in that linebacker as well, Cole, if you're ready to move on.
Yep. I want to dig in. I know Perkins is in the back end. I'm not as familiar, and I know more than likely. Let's see. That's what I'm trying to ask you. I guess I'm wondering, what do you think we're going to prioritize? You think we're going to prioritize that inside linebacker over the off-ball linebacker as a need, or are we just going to take the best available linebacker, whether it's inside or out, which I think is the route we should probably go.
In the first, I think you should take best available position.
I agree.
Yeah.
Period. But overall, they got 2 edge rushers that they really loved last year.
Yeah.
They kind of need. I think they kind of need a vet in the room.
They do terribly.
Right. But I'm not high on taking an edge rusher at 19 unless a guy that's rated in the top 10 just falls and is sitting there at you. But that being said, though, I really think you take the best available position. Listen, to be completely fair, if you have a stud wide receiver sitting there, I wouldn't be surprised what Dan does. We know the issues at offensive line. We know there's other needs on the defense. But a lot of these national mock guys have us taking a defensive tackle, which I'm against, but not saying they won't.
It would have to be somebody falling, I think, for them to go defensive tackle. He really tried to address that last season, Pickle. I mean, he loaded up in FA and brought a lot of guys in. The secondary plan when Milton Williams fell through. Yeah, I'm not even looking at those guys this year. I don't think that's on the board. I mean, I'm with you on that opinion, but it could very well be. We don't know.
I did pull up a list here, fellas. Some of these names I'm not gonna lie, I'm not familiar with, but there is a few late rounders that I am familiar with. I'm gonna just go over them with you right quick. We won't go too in depth with them. Texas A&M has and I can't see some of these. I know if they're inside or outside, but not him. Tyrion York. This is 4 rounds later. This is not who I think is the top linebacker. He's in the day 3 range, somewhere around the 100 overall slot, 110, somewhere around there. Physical instinctive run defender, got good size and good tackling, it says. Solid depth piece, eventual starter D's. Like you said, that's not a guy that we're going to plug in day one. We already have guys on there with that fill that build, I guess is what I'm trying to say. We've already touched on Harold Perkins. I think he could be a starter, even though they said he might not start at first. The next one they have list, I have heard of this guy being an ACC guy. It's Kyle Louise. It's a linebacker from Pittsburgh. It says he has good measurables and his production has always been good and he's intriguing for depth, but that's not going to be a starter day one. He's going to be a special teams guy. He's going to be an off-ball backer as well. He's not going to be inside. This name we're familiar with, we already touched because he's going to be probably day 2. Jacob Rodriguez, he's had 2 really good years. High-volume tackler. It says his football IQ is really good, which I have seen, and he has a lot of range. I feel like he's not the biggest backer. That scares me a little bit, but his production has always been there.
What was his name?
Rodriguez, the Texas Tech linebacker. I think he's number 10, Jacob. Well,
yeah, we watched him in the Senior Bowl. He got multiple interceptions. Yeah. I mean, he definitely
fast. He's faster than I thought he was.
He's 6'1", 230. So.
Is he 6'1"? See, and we had this conversation during the Shrine Bowl because I thought it was smaller than that. 6'1" is fine, totally.
And dude, he is very agile,
man. He doesn't look 6'1". Maybe it's just because he's that fast. But he just doesn't look like he's 6'1" whatsoever. But I would love to have him.
Kyle Lewis, you were talking about. He's 6'1", but he's only 220. But that's another one of the guys that played that safety /
He's a hybrid, yeah.
Yeah, he's a hybrid linebacker.
Tweener. It's probably a few tweeners on this list.
Really doesn't do good with the tweeners.
All right. I'm glad you told us that. We'll keep him off the list. Next one, I believe we're all familiar with, Panther Pickle. I know you are. He is off the great state of Alabama for the Roll Tide, Deontay Lawson. They got him as a day 3 value guy right now. Not quite sure really what happened to him. I thought he was a more highly touted recruit. But, I mean, we see great linebackers, some of the top-end linebackers that just don't go in the first round. Sometimes the first linebacker doesn't go to damn near second, third round. We have seen that before. So he could have a nice career, I feel like, if he lands in the right place.
And you know what, Cole?
What you got?
Something there, too. If you select 2 linebackers in free agency or a stud linebacker in free agency,
sure,
there's a chance the linebacker you draft might not be your day 1 starter anyway.
He might not be. If you're going to handle your business in free agency, Pickle, then he might not be.
It may behold you to go late,
And then if you do that, you look at some of these players right here that can potentially be starters down the road. So, I mean, they're definitely worth talking about.
Right, absolutely. And just so folks know, John Beeson nor Luke Kuechly was day 1 starters.
I can't believe I was like most Panther fans. I was like, "Who is Luke Kuechly? Why did we just draft Luke Kuechly?"
Oh, just a Hall of Famer.
We just
an all-time Panthers player.
Definitely the greatest linebacker I've ever seen play with my eyes.
Almost the best, probably the best in our history right now. In case you want to put Sam Mills above him, but I don't think you do because Kuechly was an All-Pro 7 out of 8 years. Cole, I mean, he just.
Yeah, they said what was it like 80 plus percent of his career.
Respectfully, there was only one linebacker that I witnessed, watched football on, that I think is better than Luke Kuechly in my lifetime, and y'all know who it is from Baltimore.
Ray. You gonna take Ray?
Yes, sir.
To be honest,
I would. That's the only one.
With all due respect to everybody in the league, from all generations. In my personal, private opinion, Luke Kuechly is the best middle linebacker to ever live and walk the platform.
I agree.
I agree. That's just my opinion. But what's something though that made Luke great is the fact, and I don't want to say what made him. I did say what made him great, but what separated him. Luke Kuechly was always on top when he came into the league. Till he left, he didn't spend any time later in his career,
No, he won't out there taking up a roster spot.
It wasn't just taking up a roster spot. A lot of your best players, and they get older, they're just taking up a roster spot, and that's,
He didn't have a retirement tour, Pickle. That's right.
Exactly.
That's a very true statement.
Exactly. So.
I'm glad he got out when he did, though. I mean, that helped. Them concussions, man. When I first saw that he retired, man, don't get me wrong, I was sad. I legit cried about it.
Yeah, I did too.
Afterwards, though, I was happy for him. That was the next moment I have. The next emotions I had was I was happy for him because I knew he did it for his health, and you cannot get mad at a guy who does that for his health because I mean, when it comes to concussions, you don't know how they're going to affect you later on in your life.
And you could see it too. Like Luke could have played. Luke could have kept right on playing and been fine. He could have been an average linebacker forever. But I think once he lost that where he knows that I'm not the best in the league anymore because of my injuries and I'm not just drilling people every single play, the running backs are getting another yard or two in my tackles. When he just felt like he wasn't the best, I felt like he got out. And I really it hurt at the time, like Jake said, but I can really respect that. I can as a fan, and I miss the hell out of
It,
him.
it did hurt. I'm not gonna lie.
It hurt.
And that was a different time in Panther Nation because
Mm-hmm.
that time, and Shaq got that extension in late December, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, this is, and my mind, my old man mind was going. I said, there's something wrong. Some folks online were, what do you mean something wrong? I said, Marty never does an extension in the middle of the year this late in the season. Nothing like this. This is something wrong. And then, a few weeks seemed like, by then the head coach had been fired. And then first part of the year, uh, before even the playoffs were over, uh, Luke Kuechly retires.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, then we hear the rumbles and the rumors of Olsen being cut, and the fanhood just took a beat down that year. And then the Cam Newton situation, and it just took a beat down. And uh, that was just, to me, all that started a sharp decline in what was a great Panther era. But stuff happens, and you got to move on with it. So,
I think Pickle. It sounds a little weird for me saying because we're older Panther fans, but I think younger Panther fans and people that were Panther fans like just when that started, and those players left, like that's heart ripping. Like these are the type of players that
hmm
gravitate you towards a team, and you watch that team because of this player, and you become a team of our franchise, becoming this player. I mean, we need more stuff like that. If we can get a linebacker and some defensive players in here that are dominant like that, and you get Bryce Young playing to how he's supposed to be in flashes of what we've seen going forward, like we need that. We may never have another Newton and Kuechly, but we can sure use that whole like superhero,
right.
just top of the world type players and that vibe and energy in the bank again.
And
These, I think that would be special.
Well, we're building a different type of vibe and a
If
different type of energy. I mean, look at
we are
this.
a
Look at
playoff game,
Tataroa
that's all you got to
McMillan.
say.
Dude,
We
I
are.
mean, the guy set the all-time record for the Panthers for the best
Mhm.
rookie wide receiver season. I mean, this guy's unbelievable. We've never had a caliber of wide receiver like this here in Carolina. Arguably Steve Smith, but that was a guy that was drafted in the third round that grew into the role and became that guy. This is a guy that was touted at the beginning that he was going to be that guy, and he came in and proved that he absolutely was. He was a top 10 draft pick. He was the first offensive player or whatever it was taken off the board that night. I mean, he answered the call
Yes,
110%.
he did.
I don't know. It's a different thing that we are building. We got to think about everything that
It is.
we risk and gave up to go and get Bryce Young as well.
Yes,
And we're seeing it working out in real time. Damn it! And it's not perfect.
it is.
It's not the most beautiful or most perfect of all situations ever. Some of it has backfired. Some of it has blown up in our face. But at least we can say we're finally on the right path. We're finally experiencing some success that we've been missing for so many seasons, Cole. I'm glad to be here.
I think this team, especially Bryce Young, getting that taste of a division title and making it to the playoffs, it's got to be the most addicting and powerful drug or thing in the entire world because you do not want to let that slip. You're going to go even harder in the offseason because once you switch that role from being the hunter to the hunted, that's a completely different element. And I want to see us where it wasn't like when we were successful in the previous years where it's just back to, or every other year is what I'm trying to say, excuse me. I need that sustainability where we go on these 4 or 5 year runs where we're in the playoffs every single year. And like you said, with that type of receiver in Nalo and the type of quarterback with Bryce, you add to the run game. We got the line. I feel like we'll figure out the icky situation to get the tackle situation right. We can do that. At least on offense, we can have that type of explosion. And if we do right in this free agency, and we do right and maybe draft a couple of these linebackers that we went over tonight, why not? Why can we not just run this division for the next 3 to 4 years if we had drafts like we did last year? So I'm excited going forward, boys. I really am.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's
Absolutely.
the key to it. The absolute key to it. Go ahead.
Go ahead, Pickle.
No,
What'd you have to say?
no, absolutely, absolutely. The key is trusting the guys who put the board together, trusting Dan
Sure.
Morgan, Brandon Tillis, the new scouts. There's Panthers.com has an article of a guy that I don't remember his name, but he's Dan Morgan's right hand man in the draft, and You just got to trust your guys. We went through so much with the last few years with so many mistakes, and Dan's doing an excellent job. And what Dan, I said it before, I don't like trading up, and I just get uncomfortable now trading back. But you know what? If Dan does it, I have to trust him. He deserves that.
He deserves our trust after last year's draft. The first one, I'm not going. We've already been around that
That was a
millions of
mixed
times.
bag.
Yeah, we're
Very
not
mixed
going to go.
bag.
We're not going to go over that one again. And I'm willing to cut him slack because that was his first one, whether I should or not. That's just how I feel as a fan. It was his first draft here, and then what I saw last year compared to that first year, boys, night and day difference. I feel like we had our head on our shoulders, and we drafted what we needed when we needed at the exact perfect time last year. It was one of the best drafts I feel like we've ever had. I'm very happy with it.
No, absolutely, and I think that's what's gonna, keep helping us build this team right now where it's at is having another draft like we just had. If we have anything close to the draft that we just had, I mean that's gonna shoot us, at
Sure is.
just that much ahead of the rest of our division. I really
Mhm.
do. And I mean, free agency, of course, comes first. I think, the way Dan Morgan's going to attack free agency that I hope is, you always want to set your team up to where you can take best available, right? I mean, that's everybody's ideal scenario. And I know you can't get everybody. You can't fill
No.
every hole that you have on this team. But if you get to the point where you're comfortable with taking the best available, I don't care that much about who we draft at our pick, as long as it's everybody's fully sold on it. I've been able to take multiple times. I don't know how I'm gonna react if we take another wide receiver in the first. You know what I'm saying? We've had 2 years in a row.
Pickles' expression when we drafted Ted McMillan is burned into my head for the rest of
Legendary,
my life. I will never
legendary.
forget his face on draft night, and nobody could guess who it was at first. And I called it out. I said, "There's only one name getting drafted that'll make Panther Pickle do his face like that," and I know it is. I never spoiled it, but as soon as he dropped his jaw like that, I knew who we were drafting. Don't rule it out.
I
I
could
wouldn't
have
rule
that.
out anything with this
I
team.
will. I will say that I will probably have that same look that Pickle had
You
to his
will.
previous draft if we take another
Oh,
wide
if we do
receiver in
it
the first
again, it
round.
might be worse.
But I will have that reaction too, where I'm gonna have to settle down. Trust and believe. I'm gonna have to settle down, but I just gotta trust
You
Dan
gotta
Morgan
wait
to
it
cover
out.
at this point,
You gotta when the
especially coming
draft
off the
starts, you
draft that
gotta
we
wait
just
it out.
had.
I think that's what everybody's problem was. They were acting like we couldn't get no damn defensive players the rest of the draft just because we didn't do it in the first round, and we addressed all of our needs. I'm not gonna sit here and say it was good enough, but it was a damn good start. At least we got these players on the field, and I've seen plenty of third rounders, and y'all can vouch for me on this, that couldn't even get their ass on the damn field. So we got to
I
be
think
moving
Nick.
in the right direction.
I think
Nick
Nick
Scott's
Scorton
gonna
was
be a
a
great
gem.
player. I said Nick
Nick
Scott.
Scott, yeah, yeah.
Nick Scott.
Nick
I'm sorry, you
Scorton
were a lot
is
better,
a
but we're talking about
gem.
Nick Scott.
Is a gem of. I know we've been worried here for the last years now when it came to our second round pick being a
Mm-hmm.
bust, and we ended up trading him or gone in 2 years. I don't think we're going to have that problem, Nick Scorton, dude. I think his future is very bright, and I'm just so glad that we drafted him.
We'll touch on him real quick. Do y'all think he could be 10 sacks a year type of guy every year for us, or at least somewhere close to it?
I think he was somewhere close to it. I mean, Evro's system. I don't know. I feel like Evro's system is built to where multiple people eat, not just
Yeah,
one guy blows it out the water with their stat line. I think he could possibly get up there to that close to 10 sacks a year scenario, but I don't know if he's going to exceed that. But who knows? You just never.
never know, my friend. All right, this is what I want to do. Um, Diesel Skills, you were going to tell us about all the upcoming cool things you and the podcast have going on as my favorite wizard and producer of this here establishment. We're going to say our final words. Pickle, I'll let you go first, and then Jake after him, and I will close this thing out. Deez, if you want to go ahead and start us up, my friend. Are you
Yeah,
with me?
man. So yeah,
Okay.
I'm clicking.
I forgot about the delay, and you told
You
me about
said
that.
you said pickle, and I started clicking stuff, getting ready to end the show. So my bad. But
Oh yeah, I forgot. You got the goods over there. You need a little more
yeah,
time.
I
Thank you for
don't
what
know.
you do, my friend.
No problem, man. It's an absolute blast. I mean, we've gone through so much adversity over the last few weeks, whether it be technical issues or personal
Yes.
issues. It's been one thing after another, and these guys have just been the pillar of the storm. You'll see what I'm saying here in a minute, but they really have. They've stood against all this stuff that's going on in their personal lives and still come to you and bring you Panthers content. It's been really, truly awesome to watch. and to see happen. You guys fight through this stuff. I haven't had much going on, but y'all have, and y'all been telling me about it. And I'm just proud of y'all for pushing through everything in your personal lives. I said D-Money today. We will probably have a Brotherhood episode coming up this weekend from what I'm hearing. If not, we'll have one out next week for sure. And along with that, let's see, what else have I got going on? There's still a new Beats video out, episode number 4. This will be episode number 6 of the Cole Show. Episode number 14, I believe it was, of Dill With It is out now too. Make sure you guys are checking in there, at least hitting the like button, listening to parts and pieces of it, if nothing else, and stay on the shorts. That tab that stays steady. I do a couple every week at least. Keep us active on there. I'd love to do one every day. I don't have time to do all that, but there's still lots and lots of Panthers content on there. There's a Luke Kuechly video on there that did pretty well. Got like 450 views. Make sure you watch that Luke Kuechly Hall of Fame shorts. It's only a minute long. All those videos are all only a minute long. That's really where I'm getting into my bag and kind of doing my thing with this channel. As you guys know, I don't have my own show, but I'm always here with Panther Pickle and always here with supporting you guys. So
I'm gonna talk you into your own show.
I'm excited. I'm excited for what we're doing moving towards the future. I know the way that we grind and the way that we grind in this off season, we will give you the best Panthers coverage in this off season. We may not cover your personal favorite players, but we will give you an overall comprehensive view of what's about to happen with the Panthers this offseason. We did it last year. We always call things right. I'm telling you right now, when we're said and done, there's going to be 4 or 5 things that this panel has called out that was absolutely correct as what the Panthers done. It's been a trend for years now. We may be new to YouTube, but we've been doing this for at least 3 years. I appreciate each and every one of you guys, and I appreciate y'all tuning in tonight. Make sure you like, subscribe, and share the Cole Show and the Blue and Black Attack podcast.
You are the man. The Wizard is the hardest working man in show business. Tell me who works harder than that man right there, because I don't see it. We try to keep up with him. We're going to give him a good effort. Jacob, my friend, you are the man. I appreciate you pulling up on us tonight. Give me your final thoughts. What you got going on?
I appreciate being a part of the show, of course. I mean, anytime I'm part of the Dill With It podcast with Pickle and your show, and, Dee's always doing his work. I mean, like you just said, nobody works harder than Dee. That is the truth.
Nope.
And I just want to say real quick, I just want to thank everybody that joined and commented. Michael, G-Baby, Panther Gal, y'all are the reasons why we do this. Thank you all so much. And anybody else I missed, thank y'all so much for joining, commenting, just watching us. This is the reason why we do it. And as always, keep pounding, y'all.
You're the man. That was perfect. Panther Pickle, my friend.
Yeah, Cole, I'm going to ask you a private question.
A private question in front of everybody?
Yeah.
Okay.
What year were you born?
I was born in 1988, Panther Pickle.
Okay. So what were you doing in 2008?
I was peak party era. I just got out of high school.
Y'all think about this. In 2008, a young gentleman was signed by the Packers to be a long snapper. And then the next year, he was traded to the Carolina Panthers. Folks, that guy's been 18 years long snapping in the NFL. He's 40 years old. He's one of the longest reigning, successfully game in and game out players in NFL history. He re-signed this week. Congrats to JJ Jansen, the best long snapper in the NFL.
Shout out to JJ Jansen. That was perfect, Pickle.
18 years. 18 years, bro. 18. I've been
it's crazy.
In my plant.
It's crazy.
I'm getting ready to be 19 years in the plant I work at. So just think about that. When I started at the Robinette Company, JJ started in the NFL.
I think he will go down as the longest tenured Panther in franchise history. Yes. Nobody's ever going to last longer than that. Are you kidding me?
He surpassed Casey by.
I was going to say Casey was our next one, wasn't he?
But yeah, he surpassed Casey by 43 games.
He's already got 43 games on Casey?
Right.
Jeez,
that's your stat right there. Yeah, I got nothing. You know what? I appreciate everybody for coming through, all the chats, all the comments. I need you to like, share, subscribe. My show, Pickle, works very hard on Monday with this show. You need to come see us on Monday. We're going to keep you up twice weekly. You got Brotherhood on the weekend with these, and Brother D. That would be a tongue twister almost. Jacob's going to do something. I'm going to get him on his show. He wants to do it. We're going to talk him into it, lean him into it a little bit, but we're going to talk him into it. We're going to talk about that off air, man. I appreciate y'all. Y'all can go ahead, hit the music, and let's get up out of here.
Well, the pillows bear the storm. We were built for this. We were built for this. We were born to perform. Born to shine through the lightning and the thunder and the pouring rain. Rain can't stop us. Oh, brother, standing strong. We'll never break the chain. Never break. Light the torch. Let it burn forever.
Keep pounding.